Hey Leo,
Hello.
how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. How's the day so far?
It's been fine. Just got off work.
All right.
So it's been a long day, but yeah, I'm glad I'm here with you. Nice to
Amazing.
meet you.
Nice meeting you, Leo. So, Leo, Pneumothorax, your debut single was out last month. So, can you tell me a bit about the songwriting and making of this new single?
Yes. Yeah, songwriting is the right word here. The single was, inspired by a lung collapse that I had. Right, I was singing and my lung collapsed while I was singing. I started to feel chest pain and back pain. I ended up going to the hospital and my left lung was completely collapsed. It's a spontaneous pneumothorax. Happens to some people, nothing I could have done about it. But I was in the hospital with a chest tube like coming out of my rib for like a week before it expanded. And I didn't know if I was going to be able to sing again. And by the time I was back home, recovering and couldn't sing during the time, I bought a guitar. I bought some keyboards,
Mhm.
and I started to, compose my feelings out, right? So I really wanted to tell the story. So, and that was very intentional about the songwriting. You notice that it starts with a kind of that major happy calm place, which was intentional to be like, hey, this is a normal day, I'm happy, I'm singing,
Mm.
and comes with a break right after that and goes into the 7/8, like where's my grounding, proggy riff that's very ambient, and it's kind of, I was trying to put into music what I was feeling going into that emergency room,
Mm.
and it's trying to express fear. And then there's a lot of dissonance that goes into the chorus, which is impactful, and it kind of goes into pain and then into anxiety, and ends up with like a very energetic solo that is backing the major from the intro, which is like the hospital discharge,
Mm.
that now coming back home,
Yeah.
and then finally back to the piano and peace. And I'm like, hey, maybe this is over. And it's fun because I deliberately didn't finish the chord progression.
Mm.
So I left the home chord out, which is that feeling of it ended, right? It just ended before you feel like it's ended, just abruptly. And then the message was, is it really over? Like now it's on my head right now. Every time I sing, I have to think about it now.
Mm.
So yeah, that's kind of the songwriting process behind it.
Amazing, amazing. And how do you feel now? Are you completely recovered from this issue?
Yes, I'm physically recovered. I'm still dealing with the psychological effects of it. I had panic attacks before. So a lot of times I went, to like, oh, am I having a heart attack? They're like, no, you're just anxious. Right. And then this time it was like, oh, I'm feeling a chest pain. It's probably just anxiety, right? They're like, no, your lung collapsed. And I was like, oh, now every time that I feel a back pain, do I go to the hospital? Do I not go with it? Right. And so I have this unstable feeling of that generates anxiety, which I'm trying to heal from. But physically speaking, my lungs have fully expanded. There are no holes on it, and I'm able to sing, very high and powerful like I did before. So yeah, I'm doing better on the mental aspect of it now. I was recording this weekend the vocals for my upcoming single, and a new one that I'm doing. And yeah, I was able to sing very well. It was like a 4-hour vocal recording session, and very intense, long notes. And it's just showing that I can sing and my lungs are fine. So yeah, I'm better.
Amazing, amazing. Sounds good, Leo. And talking about the single again, a great work from you. Amazing, progressive, metal, and the way the pieces were put together, it all sounds like Shine On You Crazy Diamond by the Pink Floyd, where they have separated each pieces together. It totally sounds amazing. A great work again. And as a creator of the music, how do you feel about the outcome of the single?
I'm very happy on how it turned out together, right? Yes, there is Pink Floyd. It's funny that you mentioned Pink Floyd. Like I have sections on the song,
Yeah.
and I label them like towards influences. I'm like, okay, so here's the Pink Floyd section. Here's the Tubular Bells, Mike Oldfield section. Here's the Mogwai section. Here's the Dream Theater section, and here's the Arion section. So yeah, and I'm very happy on how it turned out. It was my first time mixing and producing as well. So I learned like off YouTube and used only free plugins and software to do it. And the one thing I would like to go back and change would be, you know, how I mixed my drums specifically and my bass. I feel like I know much more now, but you only learn if you do it, right?
Yeah.
But songwriting wise, I like how it turns out. Some people, they like shorter songs that go straight to the point. But like, if you just look at my record collection that I have there, I have, you know, Yes albums with Close to the Edge, and that's the entire side. Tarkus from Emerson Lake and Palmer's, the entire side. Like Lizard from King Crimson, also the entire side. So I'm used to this huge Pink Floyd style songs that take time to develop, that repeats for a while to get you into a vibe, just so that you can play with that vibe later on. So I'm happy with the songwriting and the composition.
Amazing, Leo. And now you have a single. Do you have plans to come up with a full-length album, or you plan to go by single the coming days?
Yeah, I think it's a step at a time, right? At some point, I will have sufficient music that I can make a full-length album. And at that point, I might just remix everything and release it, like, you know, just do better on the production side. So it's, you know, I have to work during the day, and then I'll deal with music usually on the weekends. And it takes time to write progressive music. It takes time to record, to mix, and do it all by myself, right? So I'm just releasing them, and I'm doing my next single right now. I should release it in a couple months, hopefully. Just have to finish mixing now. And then I already have ideas and compositions, like some scratches that I have to fully create into my third single. And I think if I would wait until I have sufficient music for an entire album, then I would just be sitting on them for too long. And I also think that today, how the digital market works for independent artists, every time you release something, you have the right to make a fuzz one time, right? You're releasing an album, you're probably going to pick one song and pitch to the playlists, right?
Yeah.
You're probably going to go out and talk about it once, and then after that month or two of the release, you're like, oh, I'm going to talk about another song, but it was already released together with the album. So just going single by single also helps, you know, preach the word.
Absolutely. It's quite a plan, Leo. Sounds good. And being a multi-instrumentalist, do you plan to keep it this way, or do you plan to bring in more members into the band into the future coming days?
Yeah, so this next single that I'm working on, which is called Sonhos, which means dreams in Portuguese, I have the keyboards recorded by Ronaldo Rodriguez. He's a Brazilian. He lives in Brazil. I'm living in Canada. We're both Brazilian, but he plays keyboards on a lot of the Brazilian modern prog bands nowadays. So he recorded excellent passages on his keyboards, like a nice Hammond sound. And I'm using that on my single. I'm looking for a saxophonist to record the sax passages. And I have a friend that's also a drummer who is just setting up his home studio. I used to have a prog band with him, like, I don't know, 15 years ago. It's the only person who I could tell, you know, play King Crimson, play Bill Bruford. And he's like, yeah, I can do it on my sleep. And so he's the best drummer I know. He
Amazing.
lives in Winnipeg now, and he's setting up his home studio. He still has a few things to do on his drums and getting an audio engineer to mic everything up with the right phases and all before he can record something. So he won't be playing drums on my next single. But I'm hoping that from the third, he would be able to play drums. And it's a kind of scattered process, right? I'm here in Vancouver, someone in Brazil, someone in Winnipeg, maybe another guitarist playing a solo somewhere else. Hopefully someday I'll have people getting together and jamming and performing live, but that's the plan. It's step at a time, right? I have ideas, I have music, I want to publish it, and I spend too much time being held back by trying to have, you know, a local band with people around me that
Yeah.
willing to perform that kind of song. And you know, after the pneumothorax experience on the hospital, I'm like, you know what? I just gonna learn. I'm gonna do it myself because I need to express my feelings through music.
Amazing, amazing, Leo. And talking about the songwriting in the coming days, would it be, what would be actually focusing on? Will it have a concept around each single that you're creating going forward?
Yeah, this next single, it's the lyrics are in Portuguese,
Mm.
and it's a very ambient and very post-rocky type of song, but extremely progressive. But you don't feel the you don't hear or count the time signatures,
Mhm.
but you can feel them. It never stays put, right? I'm going from 5/8 to 4/4 to 7/4, and just keeps changing. But I'm using my songwriting elements to try and have like a snare that gets everything together. I'll be singing a line which makes you feel like it's a straight song, but it's not. And the theme, the thematics behind it is never-ending chase of your dreams while enduring the mundane. It's like, you know, you're almost reaching your dreams. You can feel it in your hands, and then suddenly it's morning again. You're waking up. You have to work, right? And then you just have to do everything until you can come back to sleep. And it's don't let them, you know, bother you. Still chase your dreams. Still get there. Go and be someone. That's the vibe of the song.
Sounds great. Sounds great. And when did this all happen to you? When did you really want to start making music on your own? Is this because of this problem that came into you and you got this idea in the hospital, or this was something that was into your mind long, long time ago?
Yeah, it's been in my life, in my mind for a while now. Like I'm a singer. I like to sing more than anything, and I would sing a lot of covers and be singing and singing. And I'm also a music theory nerd. So I studied a lot of music theory when I was doing my singing classes and when I learned guitar when I was 12. And I've always I ventured into jazz harmony and jazz music theories and making things that sound weird and like being really, you know, prog rock guy. My cat name is Robert Fripp because of the King Crimson guy, right? So I'm really passionate about making music that is complex but doesn't overwhelm you, right? I don't like to throw 1,000 notes per second on your face and make you feel like, oh, this is completely technical and robotic. I try to use all of that complexity to give you a message and songwriting. And I always wanted to do that. And I never fulfill the full song because I always wanted, you know, to have a band and do that together with other people and jam. So I had this, wanted to do it, but being at home with the pneumothorax, not being able to sing for like a month or two as part of the recovery,
Mm.
it was the final push. It's just like, okay, I'm gonna buy the things, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna learn how to mix. This is the way. If I don't do it, then I'll never do it, and I'll just be regretting it for my entire life.
Gotcha. And any plans for gigs in the coming days?
Gigs.
Yeah.
I need a band in order to do gigs, right? So I don't have a plan for a gig yet. I would love to do it. You know, if finding the right people to play with me would be great. I'm also do collaborations. I just recorded vocals for my friend Jeff Black from Gatekeeper here in Vancouver.
Yeah.
We're releasing a single together. It's a power metal single, and I sang on it. I did all the vocal melodies and sang like layers and layers and layers of vocals on that. And like maybe we can perform together. At least is someone else that's close to me. We can perform that song. We're definitely going to record a video performing the song. But yeah, just being straight with the gigs about the LEO Maya project. I don't have anything scheduled yet.
Sounds good. And as we spoke about the upcoming single, do you plan to release the single just in the audio format, or you plan to make an official video for the single as well?
Yeah, I did the Pneumothorax lyrics video, which I released a couple weeks back, which is a nice animation I did with a friend of mine. I'm going to do the same for Sonhos for sure. I'm gonna have like the same artist that did the artwork for Pneumothorax just did an amazing painting that I'm using for Sonhos. And I'm going to animate that as well and make sure we have a lyrics video. And I want to record a music video of it, mainly me performing at home, just to have that idea of, hey, you can do it from your bedroom, right? And it maps to this whole fulfilling your dreams idea. And because it has a lot of ambient Mogwai style passage on it, I think it goes really well with all the nature that's surrounding me in Vancouver. So I'll probably also record some of the nature, like birds and walking on the trees, and still having ideas on what to do with that video, but it's something I'm looking forward to.
Amazing. And any big dreams that you have?
Big dreams. Well, if you could ask me my biggest musical like dream, it's probably to sing in Aryan, right? Aryan Antholin Lucasin, who's the guy who does Aryan, always being like an idol to me. I have all of the the Aryan vinyls signed by Aryan, and I'm really into Aryan. It's my most favorite band to sing. And every time that like if I'll be singing, you know, in the shower or just doing cover videos and all of those things, I'll be singing Aryan. I really like how the dynamics of multiple vocals are in there. There's a pretty good vocal, you know, forward type of song, and it's prog as well. And it marries. It's hard to see progressive rock that marries really good singing. Like it's very instrumental, unless it's more to the gent like progressive metal type of thing. But being like closer to the progressive rock, like the early albums from Aryan, it's hard to find that with great singing. There will be some, right? But more often than not, your regular prog band that you go and watch a gig, it's going to have a bass guy that sings as well, right? He's going to have a bunch of instrumental pieces. So Aryan is very inspiring in that way. I love to sing on them.
Amazing, amazing. And Leo, finally, any message for the fans and for the new people who are new to your music?
Yeah, I think for the fans, I really appreciate your support and everything you've been doing, supporting me and, you know, helping me promote the music. And it's just great. Like I wouldn't be doing my second single if it weren't by all of these people that are supporting me. I really love them from the bottom of my heart. And for the new people out there, and I think my message is, if you're interested in progressive rock, if you like progressive rock with vintage influences, but you also like some metal vocals, like very high and powerful, and think about those things being married with some post rock to make it more ambient, and think about how how a lot of the modern prog today is about being very technical and throwing a lot of notes and being very chaotic sometimes and very mechanical. And this is not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is then marrying those things by using songwriting to make it more accessible and digestible. I would like my prog to be heard by people who are not musicians and they are not your, you know, your guitar solo expert who knows everything about pickups, and they will be able to listen and say like, "Ooh, that's music that I like," even though behind it it's extremely complex, right? So I think just doing complex for the sake of complex, it's one thing, but being complex and making it into a beautiful songwriting piece that is accessible for everyone, that's what I'm trying to do. And if you're interested on what I just said, maybe check out Pneumothorax and give me a follow. And whenever my next single is out, let me know what you think.
Amazing, Leo. And Leo, I want to thank you so much for giving me today this wonderful opportunity to meet you and have this great interview with you to talk about the music and your life. And thanks again for the amazing music that you are creating. And we are all looking forward for more music from you. And I wish you all the best.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was my pleasure and I had fun.
My pleasure to Leo. Thank you and have a great evening out there, Leo. Take care of
You
yourself.
too. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye bye.